I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could have a moment of silence for our fallen police officers and honor, sorry if I could talk tonight, Police Appreciation Week. You may be seated. Has roll call been taken?
Yes.
Chief Sutter, will you do us the honors again, please?
Chief Sergeant, Linden, please. Brian Will, Fire.
Dave Richmond, Road Professional Services. Don Grice, Director of Public Works.
Tessa Sweeney, Director of Senior Services and Community Engagement.
Brooke Card, City Treasurer. Kristen Kenyak, City Clerk.
Pam Howard, City Council.
Jerry Link, City Council.
Ellen Glass, City Manager.
Pat Parker from Simon Figueroa Parker, City Attorneys.
Liz Armstrong, Mayor.
Brad Dick, Mayor Pro Tem.
Denise Miller, City Council.
Tom Hicks, Council.
Brenda Simons, a City Councilor.
We have no special presentations, so we're going to move right into the City of Linden fiscal year 2025-2026 budget public hearing.
Madam Mayor and City Council, we are required by the Uniform Budget Act to conduct a public hearing to receive any public comments, reference our budget that is in the packet tonight.
We might have to pull our microphones closer.
Okay.
Everybody's struggling to hear tonight.
Thank you.
So I am opening up for public comment on this public hearing for the budget at 6:32 p.m. Do we have any public comments on the budget? Yes, ma'am. Come on up to the microphone, please. Thank you.
My name is Ramona Dees, 506 North Bridge Street in Linden. I'm the director of the LoC Senior Center Chorus. During the 2024 Spring Tea, the LoC Chorus held a fundraiser to cover the cost of music. There were also several donations from individuals that were designated for the chorus. On May 8th, 2025, the balance remaining was $478.83. On May 8th, 2025, chorus members had another fundraiser at the Spring Tea. They raised $819. Therefore, we have a total of $1,297.83 designated for the chorus on May 8th. The funds were turned over to the LoC office and deposited into the bank account, which is now controlled by the City of Linden. Since the LoC budget has been merged with the city budget, we would like assurance that the $1,297.83 and future donations and fundraiser proceeds specifically be designated for the chorus and be set aside for the use of the LoC chorus for music and expenses of the chorus. And I would like this to go on record that any funds raised by the chorus themselves or donated for us be set aside and not go into the general budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments on the budget, the 2025-2026 budget? Going once? Monica?
Monica Lerner, 152 West Ralston Road, Linden. So, you know, it's highlighted that the tax millage is proposed to increase. So how does the process work on the budget? I noticed Wednesday, there was a couple of the counselors that had come in, and I assume budget. Is there a board, a commission, a resident, thing that helps with the budget? You know, why does it seem to be just all controlled, you know, in one little corner?
Thank you. Any more about the budget?
My name is Justin Collins, 312 Pauline Pass, Linden. I can't fathom a single reason why anybody would vote to increase our millage at all. We as taxpayers are freaking broke. All right, my winter taxes have more than doubled in 4 years. My water bill now has doubled. The idea that you guys should just get more money from us, you keep coming to the bank to us, we're broke. At some point, instead of just coming and reaching your hand into the cookie jar, somebody needs to take some responsibility and start cutting waste. There's no reason, I'm sorry that I know there's new people here, but how this city has been ran for years, there's no reason a single freaking person deserves a goddamn raise here. It blows my mind that anybody here would want to, or to think it's justified to give somebody a raise at this point when you sit here and just keep taxing us to death. It is ridiculous.
Any further comments on the budget?
I have a comment, Madam Mayor, if you will.
Let me finish out here and then I'll
Okay,
go right to
thank you.
I just want to close the public hearing.
That's okay.
Second call for last public comments. Anyone? Okay, I close this public hearing at 6:37 p.m. Go ahead, Brenda.
Just a quick question. Has anyone sat with Mr. Collins to discuss the budget? Has he come forward to the city to talk about how the budget process works? Has it been explained to him at any point? Because he seems really upset. So I like
I'm upset of every single person that's sat up there for the last 10 years.
the due diligence that we practice, which we do. We answer our residents' questions, and we do a very fine job.
Lies.
I would just like to be reassured that he understands exactly what's going on, so,
They haven't answered
because he
the
seems
question.
really angry, and if he understood it, I don't think he would be so upset.
I have not personally sat with Justin to go through the budget specifically, but I know there is some confusion in regards to the public notice that we are required. The public notice that we're required is very specific that we have to post. And it does not say that it's a tax rate increase. It says the property tax millage rate proposed to be levied to support the proposed budget will be a subject of this hearing. And I think in my memo that I included in the packet, it does say that there is no intent whatsoever for a tax rate increase.
Right.
And that if we are changing our millages, those have to be a vote of the people.
Yes.
So there's no proposal for a tax rate increase.
Okay, I think the gentleman may not understand the difference, so thanks for explaining. Thank you, that's all I had.
Madam Mayor, before we proceed, looking at the agenda, I believe we need to move the water fee structure out of new business and back up to unfinished business.
As well as Forest Ridge.
And the Forest Ridge PUD also.
Agree.
That is a motion.
So I will make the motion to amend the
Support.
agenda.
Would you like a roll call?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Miller?
We have finished. Called you to vote.
Well, I had to get clarification.
Okay, just one.
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Out.
Yes.
Alright, so we did have one piece of correspondence. It was a comment submitted on behalf of Spalding Manufacturing. Don?
Madam Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to respond to that.
Yes.
Mr. Alan Young, on behalf of Spalding Manufacturing, recently went on the record questioning the purchasing process for an asphalt hot box as presented at the April 28, 2025 meeting.
More specifically, he questioned my management of that process. For that reason, I would like to respond to the record. First, he said I instructed him to include a hydraulic tamper lift in their quote. That is correct. He showcased the hydraulic lift as being available on his units with hydraulic systems during our demonstration, so I had him quoted. At no point during the process did he suggest that this could or would jeopardize his opportunity to be competitive. And as it turns out, that was for a good reason. You will notice his letter goes on to state that the other companies were allowed to submit a bid with less expensive versions of the lift, which prevented Spalding from being the lowest bidder. That is simply not true. In fact, the Spalding hydraulic lift as submitted was $1,275 less than the 12-volt lift included in the quote by our recommended manufacturer, and yet the Spalding quote remained more expensive. Second, Mr. Young stated that I said the My Deal contract would be used for pricing purposes. When talking to each of the manufacturers, I asked if they are part of the My Deal or any other cooperative purchasing entities. This is simply to verify that they qualify under the city's cooperative purchasing program. In this solicitation for quotes, I specifically used the following language. I quote, "I would like your best numbers on the following units." I do not know if My Deal price includes Spalding's best numbers, but I specifically requested their best. Mr. Young also goes on to suggest that the process may not have been fair and equitable. Pardon me if I do not take this allegation seriously. It was Mr. Young that felt it was appropriate to try and sweeten the terms of his quote by adding $2,000 of free maintenance item once he discovered he was not the low quote. I wonder if the other manufacturers would feel that Spalding's attempt at a last-minute modification is fair and equitable process. Lastly, Mr. Young seems to suggest that the determining factor on our purchasing decision is simply the lowest cost, which is not the case. City staff very carefully evaluate each piece of equipment we consider purchasing to ensure that the city receives the best value, not just at the time of purchase, but over the life of the equipment. This process is typically utilized to identify what communities consider the lowest qualified bidder. In that process, things like overall quality, ease of use, serviceability, warranty, reputation, and a whole host of other factors are considered to determine the best value for the lowest qualified bidder. In closing, the city selected the manufacturer that we believe provided the best value for the city of Linden. The unit we recommended and approved is a high-quality product with a great reputation. It provided more optional upgrades, a higher discount percentage, a better warranty than the other manufacturers, and it was still the lowest cost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
We're gonna move on to public comment. Can everybody hear me okay? Perfect. Any person wishing to address the city council during the meeting will get 3 minutes under public comment. When the public comment is opposed on the agenda, individuals wishing to speak will be called upon using the filled-out comment form. Remarks should be addressed to the presiding officer. It is not a time for debate, but for questions or comments for council and/or staff. Questions will be answered if the information is readily available. If answers are not available during the meeting, council or staff will contact the individual within 48 hours and respond to the question within 10 days or when the information becomes available. And I just want to add a little piece to this, super quick. Just so that everyone here is aware, council cannot, it's against the law, okay, for us to respond during your time. It is literally your time to talk to us with no interruptions. So when we just sit and look at you, it is not out of disrespect. It is not because we are not hearing you. It is simply because that is what we are supposed to be doing. That's the way we're supposed to be handling it. So I wanted to make sure everybody was clear because I had had a lot of people, you know, coming to me and telling me, and I didn't want anyone to think we were being disrespectful. Okay? So moving on, we're going to, Monica, I see that you put 2 in. Can you condense these into 3 minutes?
Yeah, am I allowed to, I have a copy and then I have.
Is she allowed to do 2 public comments?
I think she just has 3 minutes to speak about
Okay.
whatever, any non-agenda item.
Okay. You get 3 minutes, is what, yeah.
152 West Ralston Road. So first off, for the American Legion, this is Poppy Month. So the red poppy, or the remembrance poppy, is symbolizing lives lost to war since World War I. So we're going back to 1914. So the American Legion has set up for Poppy Days on Friday, May 23rd, which is actually the National Poppy Day. We'll be at Alpine Market and Ace Hardware between 9 and 5. And on Saturday, May 24th, also Alpine Market and Ace Hardware from 9 to 5. This Thursday, May 15th, we'll be at the Linden Car Show between 6:30 and 8. We also have canisters set up around town. In Linden, we have Shirley's Diner, we have Sunset Corals, Linden Hotel in Crow's Nest, Choice One Bank, Linden Brewery, Down the Hatch, Charter Senior Living. Argentine, we have Cancun Restaurant #2, North Shore Market, Lobdell Party Store, in Benton, Coldwell Professional Bankers, Vincinia Gardens, and Leo's Colony Island. So, last meeting, I had to leave early, because my caregiver, leaves at 9 o'clock. And so I didn't get to hear the comments, about things. For Counselor Denise, I was not making a comment about your phone. And so I wouldn't do that. I have my phone on because we have, I have the caregiver, be able to get a hold of me. So the other thing was, so over the weekend, the Lions Club was set up on the Four Corners, and I realized they do that every year. So on the Broad Street side, going toward the light, I guess that would be east, the gentleman had a whiteboard, and on the whiteboard, all it said is "Know the law." So I don't know what that was meant to be. I don't know if it was over public safety, or I don't know. It just kind of confused me, and, so if I could have that, answered of why it was put that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Ramona, did you still want to speak on the chorus, or are you good?
I've said what I wanted to say, thank you.
Thank you. Justin,
Get to see me again. So, answer a few things. Nobody has sat down and talked with me. For the record, I would never sit down and talk to her again, because every time I have, it's been a lie. The fact is that every question I've ever answered, I've never got a single response from this city. I have put it in writing, I've asked it verbally, nothing is coming back. Don has been great in communications with trying to deal with some of the stuff in our neighborhood. But I would like to put on record and formally ask that the city change some of the permitting processes. Don, you might know what I'm about to bring up. As a member of an HOA, we have our bylaws. Everybody in there has to agree to it. The city approved building houses in our neighborhood. As one of the HOA members, we didn't know this was happening until they had tractors on the ground and they were clearing stuff. We just had another issue where permits were given that we knew nothing about it until equipment was out there digging holes. And it'd be nice that the city would look, we got multiple HOAs here to prevent some of this, because we had to be a bad guy. We had to go serve cease and desist orders to get people to stop building in our neighborhoods till we knew what was going on. It creates a bunch of headache that if the city is working with somebody that lives in an HOA, say, hey, part of your packet, turn in, have an approval from your HOA. prevent a lot of headaches, prevent a lot of financial cost on some of us who have to spend money to fight this stuff, to figure out what's going on, just so we know. So we're included in the loop. But I would just like to have that on public record, and I don't mean you have talked about that. Actually, it wasn't you, I'm sorry, it wasn't Don, but I talked to you about something else. Adam Young, am I thinking of the right person in permitting? I think Adam I was talking with. Okay, sorry, got you guys mixed up. That's all I had on that.
Thank you. Heidi Fletcher?
Heidi Fletcher, 1570 West Ralston Road. What I'd like to request is an update on the construction of West Ralston Road project. We haven't really been updated on where we're at with it, when it's gonna start, how long it's gonna take, so I am requesting an update on that. And then recently I noticed there are 21 acres for sale on the corner of West Ralston and Hogan Road, and that's just outside of the city limits of Linden. Given all the issues we're having with construction equipment, construction traffic, outside of where we live right now, but preemptively, I would like to request that the city of Linden deny use of West Ralston Road after it's rebuild, repair, whatever we're doing to the use of construction traffic or construction equipment, because I do feel that we're doing a special assessment district. We shouldn't be responsible to maintain a road for use of heavy equipment for a property that's located outside of the city limits. And then one other thing of note, we walked down there, still within the city limits in the wetlands, there was a large piece of furniture in there that was retrieved, but there are still 4 tires, and I do believe that wetland is within the city limits. There is a lot of dumping that happens over there. I would just like to see if we can look into that, because we wanna preserve the wetland area as best we can, and furniture and tires and garbage don't help. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so all those that turned in for the PUD, planned unit development, I'm saving yours so that I can call on you during that particular time. That's coming right up, okay? All right. And then Ellen, go ahead and take it away.
Sure, I'll try to address maybe some of them. Monica, you had mentioned something in regards to the Lions Club, set up on the 4 corners. I don't have any information on that. I'd have to follow up and see specifically what you're referencing, so, I can follow up with you. Okay. Justin, thank you for the comments. As far as the changing the permitting process, I really don't have anything additional to add there. Don, do you mind providing an update for Heidi on the West Ralston Road project?
So we have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor this Thursday. I would expect that we'll have a schedule next week, probably following that. As soon as we have that information, we will be holding a public hearing so that residents can come out and become more aware of the project.
And then as far as the debris and things like that and the dumping, it's noted and we'll.
It's once it turns dirt, but it's still within the city limits, and it's on the south side.
Okay.
It just passed where they put the new drain.
Okay. And then as far as us limiting traffic for the 21 acres potentially for sale, again, I have it noted, that's something that we would have to discuss with Fenton Township and talk with our attorney to see if there's anything, if it's a Fenton Township project and there happens to be a development that goes in there, could we limit them from utilizing what, a road, a public road? I know that.
I think generally that's a hard thing to do with the public roads, public streets.
Okay.
You can't just limit them to the use of your city residents.
Okay.
That's why they're public.
But I have it noted, it's, yeah.
Will you repeat that, please?
For some reason,
We
people in the
couldn't
back
hear
can't
you.
hear you.
So it's something that we would actually have to follow up on, because it's a Fenton Township parcel that she's referencing, the 21 acres and things like that. And it is for sale, and I don't know that there's necessarily a development per se, but it's something that we would have to talk with Fenton Township, and I don't know that we would be able to limit because it is a public road, specifically, so. Follow. Okay.
Public comment is now closed. So we are on the consent agenda. City council meeting minutes from April 14th. Application to use public property for happening in Linden karaoke at the Mill Pond. Application to use public property happening in Linden River Roast. Street collection application for the Fenton Knights of Columbus and the financial reports.
I make a motion to accept.
Support?
Can we get a roll call, please?
Armstrong,
Yes?
Link,
Yes.
Simons.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
So now we're going to go into unfinished business. We're gonna start off with the Forest Ridge Estates preliminary unit development.
But real quick, can I make I'd like to make a motion just to, I don't know how to address this, but I'd like to talk to the audience about, we have a lot of students in the audience, and I need everybody just to understand we have our young adults out there. So I know this, a couple things are gonna be heated, and we need to just address it. The kids are out there too, okay? And this is not every meeting, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
I'd say that's.
Yeah, that's his version. Okay, do you wanna lead and start this out, Bud?
So this is just, this was postponed from the last meeting. In your packet is a amended agreement that Attorney Gildner has proposed with language in red. You'll see we do have our city engineer as well as Adam Young here as well to speak to the planned unit development.
All right, we'll start off with the public comment for this. So I am going to go to Janet Sutherland.
Hello, my name is Janet Sutherland. I live at 144 Kristen Court in Linden. My home is in the Forest Ridge Glen subdivision. There are many water problems in Forest Ridge Glens and Forest Ridge subdivisions which must be addressed. The concept of building 30 new homes in the area without considering the existing water issues and meaningful solutions will only exacerbate our current water problems. The Forest Ridge Glens HOA co-owners have standing water in their yards. Some sump pumps are running as much as every minute. There are underground springs. Even in the summer, the land, including the subsoil, is saturated with water. I'm unable to mow my backyard because of the standing water. Trees are falling because the roots are saturated with water as well. The Forest Ridge Glens HOA is not against having homes built in the proposed Forest Ridge Estates. The property of Forest Ridge Glens is private. The Glens was abandoned by the original developer and City of Linden. So we're taking a stand to try to protect our co-owners from future flooding and damage to the infrastructure. It should be noted, the original drawings in 2002 called for a 20-foot buffer zone between a structure and wetlands or protected area. The setback in the township of Fenton is 25 feet. Furthermore, sites 1, 13, 26, 27, 28, and 29 in the proposed PUD units have setbacks between 1 foot to several feet to the wetlands. The question arises, how is the City of Linden able to enforce building codes for property improvements, such as decks, patios, gardens, or even landscaping, when at least 6 of the units are a few feet from the protected wetlands. Presently, there is a $25,000 daily fine for violations of building and/or environmental codes in the wetlands. The owners of the proposed lots will need to be informed of this mandate. Pursuant to my aforementioned concerns and questions, the final determination by the City of Linden leave much doubt for the present and future owners of the affected properties.
Lee Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your service. Just a reminder to the council and everybody else that in 2002, there was only one wetland on this entire property area. Today, there are 5. That means that Mother Nature has created 4 new wetlands in 20 years. Prior to the Linden City Council approval, an engineering solution and agreement to the flooding and wetland expanding issue in the Cole Lane area and Lower Lane area must be done. Prior to the Linden City Council approval, an engineering solution and agreement to the storm sewer piping issue going to the 2 catch basins on Nicole Lane. That solution must be reached before approval. This water currently flows to the detention basin of Forest Ridge Glens. Thank you.
Mary.
Mary Burns, I live at 105 Laura Lane in Forest Ridge Glens. Our request prior to the Linden City Council approval is an engineering solution and agreement to the proposed detention basin to be added on the west end of Forest Ridge Estates, adjacent to Forest Ridge. Prior to the Linden City Council approval, an engineering solution and agreement to proposed 600-foot swale ditch located along the Grand Trunk Western Railroad grade. This proposed swale ditch will discharge water into the wetland on lot 4 units 27. And that's on a site plan dated 1/9/2025. Prior to the Linden City Council approval, an engineering solution to prevent flooding of Forest Ridge Glens lots 33 through 37 along the cul-de-sac of Laura Lane, and a performance guarantee needs to include a $100,000 deposit and agreement. And I would just like to thank the entire City Council for helping us try to prevent a rerun of what we went through in 2002, because that builder was not required to do anything. That's why we don't have the final grade on our road. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ben Bissell.
Hi, Ben Bissell. I live at 268 Laura Lane. Prior to the Linden City Council approval of the new development behind Forest Ridge Glens, we are asking for a performance guarantee to be implemented and include a dollar amount and time frame for the protection of Forest Ridge Glens HOA and its 49 co-owners. This needs to be a cash deposit with the City of Linden. The master deed of Forest Ridge Glens does indeed state that Laura Lane is to be used for access to any future developer's construction traffic to the 14.96 acres of land. Therefore, a deposit of $250,000 for repair of damage to Laura Lane should be set, and a time frame of no longer than 5 years from approval should be implemented for completion of the PUD. I am the homeowner on the corner of Laura Lane and Andrea Ave, and I will be staring at nothing but construction for the next 5 years, with construction traffic flying by my home at all times of the day, flashing lights and making noise, with my small children occupying my home. Conversely, in the event that the Linden City Council approves for Andrea Ave to be the construction traffic route, then we of Forest Ridge Glens ask for a set deposit of $175,000 with the City of Linden to protect damages to Laura Lane, as there will be no stopping construction flow from our entrance, given it is outlined as such in the master deed. The Linden Planning Commission approved condition number 6 provides that Laura Lane is surveyed prior to and after construction to maintain the integrity of our road. Additionally, prior to the Linden City Council's approval, the performance guarantee also needs to include a deposit of $150,000 for damages to storm sewer piping in our detention basin in Forest Ridge Glens, which just so happens to back up to my home and fall within 20 feet of my property line. A written plan for cleaning and video inspection of the storm sewer piping system located in the 14.96 acres needs to be implemented, protecting the catch basins with filters and preventing the 22 years of collection and sediment in the storm piping from entering the Forest Ridge Glen storm sewer piping and detention basin is pivotal in protecting not only the pollution flow into the Shiawassee River and eventually our surrounding lakes, but the overflow of 22 years worth of sediment and vegetation from flowing into mine and my 4 neighbors' backyards and basements. If you were the homeowner that shared a property line with a detention basin that you can see out of your bedroom window flowing into your backyard, I'm sure you would want to protect your home's foundation and basement, along with the control what eventually flows into Lake Huron, where it just so happens the city of Linden now sources its drinking water. Thank you.
Thank you. John Hill.
I'm John Hill, and I live at 292 Laura Lane. And the Linden City Council has a responsibility of 130 current households that already surround the PUD development. The Linden City Council has a responsibility for these 130 households, properties, safety, protection, and well-being. In your decision you make, I ask that you reflect on this. Since the approval of a preliminary site plan on February 5th, 2024, until the February 3rd of 2025, when the Linden Planning Commission approved the final site plan for the PUD, very little has changed in regard to the Forest Ridge Glens' many concerns. The concerns, requirements, and issues with the Forest Glens HOA have been ignored and dismissed as not important. On February 3rd of 2025, Brad Dick's condition number 6 addressed the A requirement of the Forest Ridge Glens HOA that Laura Land be protected in the construction process. Conditions number 1 and 2 and 3 should all have been, instead of reading before authorized construction, should have been prior to the approval of the Linden City Council. In the 15 weeks since the approval, the following requirements have been ignored and dismissed as of not important. Katie and Eric's home, lot 41, Allison and Hutton's home, lot 40. Eric has spoken in the public meetings and Allison has wrote letters stating that no one was going to remove the fences and fill their backyards. Yet this still is on the plan before the Linden City Commission to be approved tonight. None of the requirements for the detention basin owned by Forest Ridge Glens has been changed on the plan. The detention basin changes that we requested before was the freeboard height be at 873 feet above sea level. The 100-year rainstorm event would be at 872. And the 2-year, 24-hour storm event would be at 869.5 feet. We also talked about no 15-inch control tee on the outlet and changed the 15-inch PVC pipe to 24 inches from standpipe 1 and standpipe 2. And regarding the new detention basin, you should know how the water flows in and how the water flows out. Before being approved by the City Council, the engineering should be done and the performance guarantees completed. The Linden City Council should be aware that the 130 current households need to protect their homes. And prior to the Linden City Council approval, cost-sharing agreement for the use of Forest Ridge Glens roads, Laura Lane for future access to the 30 planned homes, the cost-sharing agreement for the maintenance and repair of the storm sewer system, including the detention basin, should also be done before approval.
Thank you. Justin Collins?
Justin Collins, third time's charm. So, I want to express that I'm not against houses being built back there. I am tired of seeing cars back there, glass shattered back there, people doing things that shouldn't be back there. It's not watched enough. We only have so many officers. They can't be out there all the time. But it's become just a trash pile for everybody. So I'm in favor of seeing something done there. But as these other people have said, you've got a duty to protect your citizens now. We are your employers. You have a job to protect us. So like they have asked, if you start doing you approve this, I would like to have a cash deposit for the houses that are on Nicole Lane that are already flooding, where people are running, like it's been said, where sump pumps don't shut off. The city allowed houses to be built there. They shouldn't have. They should have said, no, this doesn't work. No, you can't put a Michigan basement. I went into some of these houses when they were still being built and had to shove the Crocs back down in the ground. They were floating out of the ground because there's so much water. We're not talking about inches, we're talking about feet of water. Where they've got the HVAC stuff mounted from underneath the floor and it's submerged in water. These are houses and designs the city approved and allowed to be built in these same wetlands. So what are you gonna do to protect us there? Furthermore, I'd like to know why the Planning Commission's requirement of using Laura Lane isn't being respected. I understand their concern, and I've got to defend my neighborhood as well. They have deeded access to that road. That is their road. If they come down my road, I'm at the corner of one of the intersections, and I've sent a picture to Denise. A typical day, I can look out, and there's a dozen kids playing at the intersection that all this construction traffic's gonna come through. So I would request, at least if they come down Andrew Avenue, a bond for the repair, it to be given a partial score by a third party, not some of the city of Linden. I believe the city of Linden intentionally rated our road as a 2, which has failed. That way they could easily get a special assessment later after this is all said and done. So whatever's done, if he wants to bring it, I'd like to have a third party tell us the status of the road, and I'd like it to come up one level above that. Otherwise, there's no point of him dumping money into a road to put it back to what's considered a failed state, then have the taxpayers spend money to fix it, and then have us spend money as special assessment to fix it again. Secondly, with these construction trucks coming down, where all these kids are, I would hope the city would put a special speed limit, a requirement to limit them to 15 miles an hour. The first time, make this clear, the first time I hear a truck slam the brakes because of a kid, and I get it, kids are gonna be kids. The first time it is, I will barricade my freaking neighborhood. I will fight anybody tooth and nail. I will defend these kids, just like when I got a teacher fired from Linden schools for making threats against schools, or through kids.
Thank you.
I do have one more comment. Since I'm speaking for Forest Ridge, I get 10 minutes, right?
Other residents as well?
Not in that one. Are there any other residents here from Forest Ridge that want to speak? That want to speak?
He speaks for us.
So,
Well, we have one
He wants to speak.
wants to speak.
Go ahead. Kirk?
Yeah,
Justin, just be clear, if he speaks, you're done.
yeah.
So can I speak then?
Then you need to,
Do you mind if I go and go so I can finish what I wanted to bring up?
You can't come up afterwards, but you have to work as a group.
So something I've talked to Don about, and I just spoke with them about, we have a drain.
I'm sorry.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
go ahead, address that.
okay, all right. So here's the deal. Your 3-minute time was up, okay?
I thought he had 10 minutes
So-
for Forest Ridge.
3 minutes, your
Yes,
3-minute time is
but
personal.
when- Yes,
Your 10-minute would be as a group. If he's speaking as a resident of Forest Ridge, you are not
I
representing.
wrote Forest Ridge on there that I'm
Correct,
speaking
Justin.
as Forest Ridge.
I'm just,
Okay.
we're explaining. If he speaks, if this gentleman wants to speak as Forest Ridge, then you're not representing all of Forest Ridge. He gets his 3 minutes as a personal. No, we can't waive time.
John has done that in the past, spoke to the whole group.
I just want to further iterate, as everybody else is saying, is that, so I'm 108 Nicole. My name is Brendan. My house is one of the last houses built in this whole area. And again, I've been nothing but fight in my basement for the year and change that I've been in it. With the water coming in, I think the fastest that the pump turned off, or the slowest, sorry, that they turned off for was about 3 to 5 seconds. Just enough to fill back up and go back out. Again, he's gone through 2 sump pumps. They did get refurbished, sent back to me. I've had to clean out the pipes several times over due to the water. And adding more houses in the backyard of that, adding to my ponds, will increase that for me and then also for them. For instance, the water or the land that they're building already is covered in water. I mean, it's leaking into the road right now. Wow, I just lost everything. And and I'm just saying that we also need to protect the wetlands and all this added construction and water will make everything worse for everybody around. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other residents that wish to speak on the PUD? Going once? Going twice? Brendan?
Madam Mayor, did you catch Brendan's address? I did not. Brendan, your address?
Yes.
That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Brenda, do you have any questions about the PUD?
I guess what are they gonna do about the water?
Well, we've heard some things here tonight. I didn't know about his basement filling up with water. I just want to make sure that what we're doing isn't causing more harm to the residents. I know we've gone over this quite a few times, and the answer's always been no, we're not causing further harm. We can't do anything about what happened 30 years ago. But I just wanted to put that out on the table because I really don't want to cause them any more harm. And my question is, quite a few of them have said something about putting money aside for their roads. We have an agreement with the builder to help with the roads, so I'm not quite sure what we can do there, but that's kind of where I stand.
Madam Mayor, I do think the applicant is here, and so I think it would be appropriate to allow him to speak on behalf of the board.
I figured it. Mr. Niemer, would you like to come up and speak?
Thank you.
Data number, Cedar Creek Construction, 8 Emerald Point.
Sir, can you tell me if the microphone's on?
Is it ringing?
Yep, it's on.
All right.
I know there's a lot of concerns about water and whatnot, and I know last time we've been talking about this for well over a year now. We're creating a secondary detention system to help capture all this water, especially coming back from behind Nicole. And the existing detention system is also going to be modified based on Genesee County specs, and we're working with Dave as well to make sure that we are not creating any more problem than what already exists, and as a matter of fact, helping solve quite a bit of the existing problems, especially all the ones on Nicole Lane, because now that water has somewhere to go with that secondary detention system. And I know we just briefly talked, where's Justin at? Just briefly talked to Justin. They got a detention system that in the event we might be able to do something with that, work together with their association as well. If he's the one who brought it to my attention, that's something that we would entertain if that would help alleviate any additional problems for all of us.
the last time we met with, he talked about money and reserving, money, a proportion, a percentage of funds to fix the roads through there. I can't remember what that percent was. Does anyone remember how much that was? Because what they're asking for is something I think we already have, that's my point. We already have an agreement to take care of the roads when they're finished.
So specific to performance guarantees, I can actually let Adam, do you mind talking specifically about the performance guarantees and that process, and percentages?
I can. I wonder if the question though is speaking to the allocation based on the number of units that go into the future maintenance. I think probably the applicant or the applicant's attorney could speak to that specific question. I think that's what she's asking for.
We do have the performance guarantee, right?
We
So,
don't have it currently because we're not there yet. We don't have engineer estimates.
Well, yeah, we're not at that point, like
okay,
Lisa was saying.
okay, good, that's fine, thank you.
George Reisig, I'm the applicant's attorney, Grand Rapids, Michigan,
Sir,
94000.
can you, is there any way to speak a little louder? We got people back here.
I'm
I
sorry.
know. It's okay.
A soft-spoken attorney.
I know, I imagine that.
9400 South Saginaw Street, Suite E, Grand Lake, Michigan. We were here last time, and there was 6 conditions that the planning commission had mentioned. And I said the first 5 were fine. They were great, perfect for this development. The 6th one, I suggested moving over to Andrea from Laura. The reason is Andrea's a public road, and forcing us to post security and doing a sort of before and after study with engineering reports, even if you have to core a little bit to see what it's like, photographs, so that we can actually visually see it before and after. And I believe the engineer suggested a method of doing that. And we've been inviting an independent person, not us. That, you know, you don't want to trust our photographs, you want to trust a third party, independent verifier. So we would post the security necessary to make sure that any damage that we did to Andrea would in fact be repaired. This, the last thing you want to do is after a developer's out of there, say, now you owe us some money, and he doesn't have anything up there. So you're basically, it's posting ransom is what it is. That's the other word for a bond.
Okay.
So as far as Laura, Attorney Skalransky represents the Glens Association. And he and I have been discussing this. As a matter of fact, we are down to 4 issues, 3 of which we agree on, and 1 we just have to do a little bit of dancing on, and then we'll probably be in agreement. But that's on Laura. We wanted to limit construction traffic to Andrea because it is a public road. We don't want to damage Laura Lane. Laura Lane is below par, as the gentleman suggested. Andrea is not. And so we don't want to make Laura any worse than it is. To take construction traffic over that during a 5-year period would be bad for the residents. And so we want to basically ban construction traffic from Laura Lane. In addition, one of the 4 issues we talked about, the issues were basically this. The initial construction of Laura Lane to bring it up to code, up to specs, so that they have a decent road in there. We weren't the ones who didn't build it. Some prior developer 22 years ago. So that's one of the issues between Attorney Skalransky and I. The second issue regarding the road, as far as the entrance amenities, we're pretty much agreed on that. As far as future maintenance of Laura Lane, we're pretty much agreed on that. We've agreed in concept to kind of a phase-in of contributions toward Laura Lane based upon the numbers of certificates of occupancy that are issued for the estates. And then finally, the detention, we're talking about doing a phase-in on that too. That is, there would be 30 units in the estates, 49 units in the Glen, that's 79 units. Every time a unit came online in estates, we would take 1 more point out of that 79 as our burden. So when one C of O is issued, we're paying 179. When two 279s. We may even kind of jog that to be 1/50th, 2/51st as we add these units on. So, because then it would put more of the burden on us to have the denominator different than 79. Because
1 over 40, 1 over 50 is a greater amount than 1 over 79. So that puts more of the burden on us. The attorney Scoutron's gonna have to work all those issues out, but they're fairly small anyway. And that involves detention, entrance amenities, and Laura Lane, future improvements, or future maintenance of Laura Lane. The only thing we're stuck on right now is the initial construction or reconstruction of Laura Lane. What we don't wanna do is take on the burden of repairing a road that we didn't construct. That is basically reconstructing a road that we didn't construct in the first place. Had we constructed it, even 22 years ago, it would be different. Then we would be responsible. And I know a lot of things slipped through, 20 years ago. Mr. Parker and I were putting more projects in the ground than anybody else in the county. And a lot of the times the title companies who were asking as escrow agents on these projects were not escrowing sufficient funds to cover the must-be-built items, road being one of them. And a lot of those title companies aren't even in business anymore. So, and then the cities just weren't able to keep up with the amount of development that was going on. And so they weren't getting, a lot of the I's were not dotted, the T's weren't crossed. And so the bonds that people had promised, or the financial assurances that people had promised, just weren't getting posted. Different this time. It's different now. We're not putting in one neighborhood per day. You'll put in 1, 2, 3 per year.
Okay, thank you, you answered my question.
Sure.
Thank you.
If you have any other questions about that, you can down to details in that.
I'm sorry, one more thing. This information is being shared with the residents, right, through the association and,
Mr. Skomrowski sent me a letter at 4:45 today.
okay.
No, I'm sure they haven't heard the response yet.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah. I'll be sending the response out tomorrow.
That's all.
All right, y'all can just go ahead and stay right there. That way the council, if they have questions for you,
Sure.
whomever it's going to ask. Pam.
I have a couple questions. How come we're not bonding both lanes, Laura Lane and Andrea, so that they're both there, they both get, that maintenance after this work is all done?
Well, if you look at the condition imposed, that the planning commission wanted imposed, they did not want us to use Andrea at all. They said Laura Lane solely for construction traffic. That's exactly the opposite of what should happen. We should use Laura Lane because it's built to handle construction traffic. Laura Lane just won't handle it, and these people are gonna be very upset with construction traffic coming on their road and ruining it. It'll ruin it very fast. And so what you're essentially asking by posting a bond for Laura Lane is, Mr. Niemer, reconstruct Laura Lane even though you had nothing to do with its defective construction.
And the other thing is, once this gets to the next step, then the Genesee County Drain Commission can help step in and look at some of that drainage issues and clear up some of these problems, which has been a problem because we can't get to the next step.
Oh, there are so many things. If you said, rubber stamped anything and said you're approved, this is just the beginning. We have so many other things to do. The county drain won't even look at it until they have an approval at this level for the site plan. And until county drain approves it, we can't start constructing infrastructure, and we can't start constructing houses until we have our infrastructure.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
We need to move ahead so you can get that infrastructure in place to ease up this water. Because that is a huge concern.
It is a catch-22 that I didn't invent, but county says, let the locals do their stuff first, then we'll deign to look at it. We'll condescend to look at it. So that's the way it works, so we all do that way.
Any further questions?
Is it Laura Lane or
No.
Andrea Avenue that you're gonna proceed forward?
Andrea Avenue is where we're planning on, through the board, Andrea Avenue is where we want to do our construction traffic. We do not want, and we will tell all of our contractors, and we will enforce it. I mean, we have somebody on site all the time. If they try to use Laura Lane, they're gonna have to pay a price.
And you'll be posting signs.
Yep.
So we'll keep them off of Laura.
Yes.
So what's gonna happen to the big holes that are around the catch basins? The road's just gonna fall in on Andrea Avenue.
Is that a question that the board is asking, council is asking?
Madam Mayor, one of our residents in the audience asked a question.
Can you repeat the question?
We
Sorry, I
have,
was reading.
around our catch basins, we have these big, huge holes that kids could fall right in. If you start driving equipment over that, it's just, the road's gonna give out. Like, go look at the road sometime, it's washed out underneath, there's a hole, but there's no way it can hold that equipment without just collapsing.
There's legitimately a hole this big by that deep by the edge of the road.
Yeah,
And two of our catch basins that I know of, one on one corner of Andrea Avenue and Pauline Pass and one on the other.
Ma'am, can you do me a favor so that that way this can be addressed, okay? Can you write down your concerns on a comment
Yep.
card? So that way somebody from the city can look at this and make sure to get back. That way everything is nice and clean. Thank you, I appreciate that very much. Okay, all right, Jerry.
I don't want you to go ahead and speak to that.
Yeah,
I know you're
we
right.
didn't create the holes on Andrea Lane, obviously, they're there today. Whether or not we build, whether or not we develop, if we never purchase a land, that issue is going to exist. I don't know how the city plans on dealing with the current condition of Andrea Lane. We do not want to make it worse. To the extent we make it worse, then that's where your financial assurance is supposed to take care.
Hey, Jerry.
I don't know if there's any plans for anything in the area, I'm just not sure.
Nope, Jerry.
Okay, so I've heard a lot of concern about the Laura Lane with the fact that it was never finished to completion. If Laura Lane was finished to completion and it was tested, you know, would you at that time be willing to use Laura Lane?
Absolutely, I just don't want to make it worse for them, and I guarantee you we'll make it worse for them by taking construction traffic over what's been neglected and what's been categorized as a road that's failing right now. Take a failing road and drive heavy traffic over it, it just fails worse.
So if Laura Lane and Andrea Lane were both two standards, are you willing to post bonds for both of those roads to bring them back to the standards using an independent, you know, contractor to look at the, you know, before and after?
Yeah, any damage we cause, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you're not suggesting that we're responsible for Laura Lane or Andrea, but that we should be responsible for making it worse. If they're up to public road standards today.
Yes, whatever standards they're at, you're not responsible.
We don't have the right to
for
damage
gas
those.
sins of other builders or the condition of the current road. Just that, what we need to make sure is that those roads are brought up, back up to where they are at the beginning of the construction, you know, at the end of your construction. And that's what the bonds would be in place for, is just to protect the residents and their streets.
Are you referring to Andrea?
No, I think
Or
he's
which
suggesting-
road are you referring to? Because I mean, to get them both up to standards,
It'll never happen in
Laura
time for
Lane, yeah,
construction.
Laura Lane is currently, I know they didn't get their top coat put on, and that was the original contractor. If Laura Lane, the original statement was, if Laura Lane was to bring their road up and get it finished to standards, county standards, would you be willing to put a bond up for that road?
Sure.
As long as that was done before construction started?
but that's, yes, to answer your question simply, yes, but that's a big if. I mean, it's a big, but yes.
That means that they're gonna end up paying for it, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. I mean, you know,
I know.
somebody a
I know
long
it's
time
been
ago who isn't here
discussed.
tonight messed up.
Yeah.
I know that it's been discussed that they would have rebuild their road, bring it up to standard.
Yeah.
But if it was at county standards, you would be willing to post a bond saying you bring it back for
Sure.
damage.
I mean, we're willing to do that for Andrea, so yes, to answer your question, yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's all I have.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Mr. Rajic, just so we're clear on this, your original suggestion, as I understood it, or subsequent suggestion, was that you would limit your construction traffic to Andrea Lane, the
Yes, sir.
public one. You were going to, in addition to limiting traffic on that, you're gonna be inspecting it before you start and bringing it up to the same standard after you get done.
We're gonna have an independent person inspect it. Right.
Thank
you. And you hire it, we'll pay them.
And you're willing to make that same concession for the private road, that will inspect it, or you'll find an inspector now and you'll make sure it doesn't come back up, but at the same time, not allow construction traffic on that private road?
No,
We will not allow construction traffic on that road, so we're not gonna cause any damage here, we're not gonna use the road.
Right.
I think the gentleman here said, if they brought it up to county road standards, then why would you do the same for Lori's you did for Andrea? And our answer was we would.
But at that point, you're saying you would expect me to use both roads for construction traffic if that were the case.
Or tell us which one you want us to use at that point.
And we'll have in the development agreement promise that you're not gonna use construction.
The
traffic.
development agreement, I sent Mr. Gilder a revised development agreement on April 30th. And I did recite the Andrea Lane provisions that we discussed last time.
Right.
In there. Laurel Lane's right up the stairs, make it Laurel Lane, we don't care. We just want to get in.
I have no questions on this one. I asked mine the other night.
So Andrea, you will get an independent third party to assess those roads,
You will get them, we will pay them.
okay? Not me. Done. Your traffic going down there, I know, I've driven down Andrea, I've driven down, Laura, and you got lots of kids. Would you object to, 15-mile-an-hour?
Nope.
And all your builders, agree to that?
We'll put it in our subcontracts with them. Everyone. Everyone, if you want us to post it, your construction traffic 15 miles per hour, right, we'll do it.
15?
You said, I think you said 15.
15.
Well, I just wanna interject here, that if, this is the city of Linden, you guys post it. You guys post it, you make it legal, you make it law, and whoever breaks the law, they suffer the consequences of your wrath.
I would have to ask our police chief to weigh in
Yeah, real
on
quick,
that.
you can't post the law below 25 miles an hour, prima facie, and I can take the attorney, or
Once again, you tell us how to do it. We'll do as much as we can. Sure.
I think that we really need to be mindful of what all these people went through. And I know you are, I know you are. And I think that if, whatever we decide, there's another hurdle, many hurdles you're gonna go through to make this right.
Mr. Parker will tell you, in 2002, everybody was a developer.
Well,
Anybody had a couple $100,000 was a developer.
right,
And nobody knew what they were doing.
absolutely. It's hard because I don't wanna see either one of these projects, or these people, like they said, they have 130 people that are there, and then somebody hurt them bad, by what the conditions of their, behind their homes. And, I know both are gonna take a fatal leap with every one of you, however this goes. So I hope you stand by your word. Thank you.
I hope so too.
I'm done.
I'll come back to you.
Everybody's going back and forth as far as, I'm actually looking at the development agreement in front of me, so I have the language that everybody's been asking for, that you provided, Mr. Gilder, and Mr. Gilder provided it for us. But for the audience that's just worried about drainage, prior to authorization of construction, detailed engineering plans shall be submitted to the city's engineer to review and ensure that items listed in the row engineering letter dated January 28, 2025 have been addressed. Those are the detention basins and such. Genesee County has the final authority on drainage. We can't dictate it one way or the other. The freeboard flow, any of that, we can't dictate that as a city. That's Genesee County Drain Commissioner has that final authority. Prior to authorization of construction, documentation, and outside agency permits, drainage, Eagle, wetlands have been secured and submitted. Prior to authorization of construction, performance guarantees shall be submitted to the city in accordance with section 154.027 to ensure completion of all improvements associated with the proposed development, including streets, lighting, utilities, sidewalks, drainage, and landscaping. The term infrastructure construction means excavation and construction of roads, sanitary sewer mains, and stormwater management systems. Water mains, main electric and gas lines, under development infrastructure shown in the final approved site plan. All vehicles and equipment shall use only, and this is the either or. We've got, right now, we can go Laura, or we can go Andrea, depending on which way this board decides to go. So substitute either Laura or Andrea, and shall not use the other. In connection with all infrastructure construction from the commencement of the infrastructure construction to completion of the infrastructure construction on the property prior to commencement of infrastructure construction, the developer shall engage and pay for a qualified engineer to perform and observe observational before and after studies, including photographs, catalog, or written report of conditions of, insert Laura or Andrea, prior to commencement of the construction, and comparative conditions upon completion of the construction. The comparative observational before or after study shows the construction traffic caused substantial damage to either road, then the developer shall repair the damage at the developer's expense. Prior to commencement of the construction, developer shall post an adequate performance bond or other financial assurances with the city to secure the developer's obligations under this provision, the penal sum of which shall be no less than the agreed reasonable amount determined by the city and developer that would be sufficient to repair the road as set forth above. I think that
covers it.
covers it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for entertaining my question, I appreciate it. I don't have that sitting in front of me, thank you, Brad.
Any further questions? Pam?
The only thing I wanted to add is that, I know we can't change the speed limit, thanks Scott. And we asked for, can you do a voluntarily speed reduction while you're out there?
I would definitely make mention to
Yeah.
everyone under my supervision will know what they should and should not be doing. I mean, that's, other than that, I don't know what else to say or do. But.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have some questions now. I'm sorry about the length of time that this is taking, but, okay. So Don, I'm gonna ask you directly, because we had talked briefly about this. What is the PACER rating currently on Andrea?
Before coming to the meeting, I looked on the county site, and they had it rated from a 1 to a 4. So it depends on various sections throughout the roadway there. So there's gonna be sections that are a 1, so failed, and then sections that are in the 4 category.
That's what I was gonna ask, if you can explain that briefly, so that everybody
Sure.
understands. What is a 4? What is it?
I wish I would have brought the information. So the scale is basically from a 1 to 10, and you rate it just like you do people. So a 10 is really the best you can get, and a 1 is considered failed. So a 10 would be a brand new road essentially, and a 1 is a completely failed road. I think the failed starts at about 3, yeah, and falls off to the 1. And then there's fair that are in the range between 4 and 6 or 7, and then 7 and above are considered excellent, I think is the term.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, I wanna make sure I know. Andrea Avenue in various spots is between a 1, which is failed, and a 4.
That's what is on the county site as of 2023, but that's the importance of conducting a current PACER rating so that you know the condition that it is in prior to construction starting.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Next, I thought that this had been addressed, but I wanna make sure that it absolutely has. The berm in the backyards of Laura Lane residents, I thought that was my understanding that is no more. There's no more berm.
Correct.
No more conversations of berms, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
We've added that secondary detention system. We've added the secondary detention system, which will reduce this one. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. The next question that I have is, and I don't really know who to ping pong this one to. One of the residents spoke about a 20-foot buffer for the wetlands from homes. I just need to know, because I'm not the wetlands person, Is that true?
Our ordinance, our zoning ordinance does not require a wetland setback from any structure, but any structure to be built, if it's located within a wetland area, would require an eagle permit for any disturbance within a wetland.
Thank you. And then the easement, and I don't know who wants to talk on this one. So the original deeded easement that was discussed in the planning commission about Laura Lane. Can someone, who wants to speak on that? I would like to know more information about that.
I can. Yes, when the Glens was first put in, it was anticipated that estates would be an expansion of the Glens. And it wasn't called the estates, it was probably supposed to be part of the same project. And under the Michigan Condominium Act, you can reserve the right to expand a project, but you have to pull the trigger on the expansion within 6 years. If you don't pull it within 6 years, for example, as happened here with the Glens, the estates would otherwise be landlocked, or the land that comprises the estates would be landlocked. So what developers do, they don't want to commit. The original developer didn't want to commit to doing estates, or the land that is the estates. Didn't want to expand the project, because there's other problems with doing that in the Condominium Act. So he reserves the right to expand, and says if I don't expand, then I'm giving that land easements over the Glens roads and over the Glens utility connections. And many times in master deeds, as a matter of fact, I know in every master deed I draft, probably everyone that Mr. Parker drafts, you say that this expansion area is going to share in the expenses of maintenance of the roads. This particular master deed did not have that language in there. And usually the master deed will say, you're going to share in expenses, and it's going to be your share in this expansion land will be the number of units there over the number of total units that are serviced by the road. In this particular one, the developer of that original project did not retain, he retained the right for the easement, but did not give the Glens the right to charge the estates for that. That's what Mr. Skowronski and I are working on now. Yeah. And as I say, I received a letter from him this afternoon, very late, had 4 points in it. On 3 of them are pretty much there. On the 4th one, we just have to discuss how to handle the initial construction of Lower Lake.
You're saying.
All right, so, I'm gonna sum it up with, it is mine, and I just wanna make sure I'm understanding this correctly. What I'm seeing is that we have PACER ratings on the city road of 1 to 4, which is not great. We have Laura Lane, which we also equally know, are not great. So either way we go, we are dealing with roads that I don't even know that can handle this kind of traffic for 3 to 5 years.
Well, there's really 2 types of construction traffic. You're going to have infrastructure construction, which is done very quickly. Then you're going to have houses built. That'll be part of the light intersection, a lot lighter traffic than infrastructure traffic, but still construction traffic.
Years later.
Thank you. Pam, did you still have another question?
Just that the state of Michigan doesn't have a setback for wetlands. It's up to local ordinances.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion on this item, anyone?
Can I ask one more question? What will happen to the development on Laura Lane and all those who are having problems with flooding? With what you're gonna do they have, is there gonna be more flooding in their area? Are you gonna try to reduce?
I think it's gonna be just the opposite. Actually, I'm confident it's gonna be just the opposite. Especially with Nicole, all that water right now has nowhere to go. And with us creating that second detention system, we are picking up not only the water on part of our road system, but everything coming off of Nicole will be put into the secondary system. once that reaches certain heights, then it will overflow into the main detention system, which is currently existing. Keep in mind, like George had Mr. Isaac had just said, the estates was supposed to be a continuation of the Glens, that it just never got developed. So the detention system that's currently there was supposed to handle the entire development. And because now that there are water locked, there's water that's locked that is not getting to its designated spot, we're resolving that issue for sure. Especially in the back part there around Old Nicole, all that water will be picked up and drained properly. So we know for a fact that is going to alleviate a lot of the water issues, especially in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Can I respond to that, please?
Unfortunately, and I'm sorry because we've already done.
You take his word for it?
I'm sorry.
Look,
We
trust your engineers to hold our.
Right, it's not my word that you're taking for it. Just if you don't mind, I'll respond a little bit to that. It's not my word that you're taking for it. It's the city engineers, it's Genesee County engineers. You're taking their word for it. Obviously, this right here is the approval process of the site plan. And then again, like Brad, you just mentioned, there are several other hurdles that we have to go through, permitting that we have to go through. And the main one will be Genesee County Water and Waste. So you're not taking my word for anything. You're taking Genesee County's word for it, as well as Dave's word for it. He's going to be looking at the same plans and improving them as well.
At a previous meeting, a builder in here said that if the water table is higher and we're surprised by it, we might put in 2 sump pumps in some houses or not have basements in others.
Thank you.
The whole point of this discussion is that this has gotta go forward because Genesee County Drain Commission's whole point there is to address problems caused by flooding and inadequate drainage systems. Once this gets beyond the point we're discussing, then he can step in and help these people.
Right.
We have to make a determination on the road. Which road? So, somebody.
Appropriate to make a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the PUD with all the stipulations that the planning commission put in place. In addition, using Laura or Andrea, and also with expediency to the Genesee County Drain Commission to eliminate this flooding condition.
And a clarification, for me, Madam Mayor, is that using Andrea in place of Laura? Andrea's the sole construction traffic route? This will be in the development agreements. I want to make sure it's one or the other.
You can update that if you want, because.
Well, that's fine. I'm just asking. It goes in the development agreement. It's one or the other or both. What's your motion?
I make a motion that if they're going to bond Andrea, then we go with Andrea.
I support that.
Can you please restate the motion? As amended.
Okay, just a second here, let me get that for. I make a motion that we go forward and approve this development with all the planning commission stipulations in place and with the updating of the, number 6 is Laura Lane. Replace that with Andrea Lane with the stipulation that they are going to bond that. I don't need to add the part about Genesee County Commission on that. With the expediency to get this through the process where the Genesee County Drain Commission can step in and help.
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Thank you. Why do we have a planning commission? But they say doesn't matter.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda is the water rate fee structure.
Madam Mayor and City Council, at the last meeting, we had a review with Brody Killian from PFM. He is here tonight to answer any questions from City Council. And tonight, we're looking for direction on what City Council would like us to do based on the rate analysis. So Brody is here, he's making his way up there to the
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you again. You hear me okay?
Yes.
So, really tonight, I'm here to, I guess, summarize what was presented a couple weeks ago with our recommendation. And if you recall, we walked you through a few different scenarios and ultimately ended up with a couple options. Option one being holding rates where they are right now. It's on page 10. And option two would be to adjust the rate mix now, which would require an increase in the usage rate and adjustments to the base fee and debt fee. Ultimately, I think it's best to keep rates where they are, the hold scenario, at this point. And the rationale behind that, and I should state that we recommend that with the caveat, the council will have to revisit this next year and will have to increase rates further or remix the rate structure. It'll likely require a combination of those two. But given that we have a switch over to the county system, excuse me, we think the rationale that supports this is having a little more time to collect some more data points, in particular the usage on the new system. We potentially could have upwards of a whole year of usage data between now and May of next year, when we come back to the council with a formal recommendation. We would have a better understanding of the capital project prioritization. Those are the long-term capital projects that also need to have an identification of funding sources, whether it be through bonds or through hopefully some grants that the city administration and I think the council have been working on. I think it's prudent to give yourselves a little bit more time. We should have word on what those funds, if any, may be by that point. And so that'll give us another data point to better inform projecting of what the future debt service will be. I think would also give the administration and council some more time to evaluate, call them key performance indicators, or looking at some of the other critical, we'll call them financial statistics that we want to see the system run by, in particular, having the appropriate days cash on hand to meet a minimum rating per the credit rating agencies. And then just overall, giving yourselves a little bit of time to adjust to the new water system, see what that might mean from the standpoint of infrastructure upgrades that may come as a result of that. I know the pressure has been increasing, and so far so good. But just having a little more time behind you, I think, gives everyone, including your tax payers and customers, more specifically, some time to digest this and move forward next year. But it is important to note that the current system, even at the existing rate structure, is not sustainable. we will have to revisit the original recommendation, and that will require an increase and potentially a restructuring of that rate structure next year. The other element to this is looking at the billing frequency and looking to see if we can go forward with potential switch to monthly billing, which I know that the city administration's been looking at as well. So that is our recommendation. That ties into your 25-26 budget adoption process, and so that's where we're at right now.
Thank you. Jerry, do you have questions?
I do not.
Aaron?
Not questions, but I believe that's good sound judgment to keep them as. That makes a lot of sense.
Brenda?
The only question is that I have, can we wait until July 1st? I mean, can we do that?
So internally, as a staff, we've talked about it along with Brody and things like that. We feel most comfortable with holding the rates where they're at for the upcoming budget year for 25-26, with the expectation that we would have to implement the necessary increases at that time and evaluate at that time.
Okay, so we'll have more data, so that doesn't mean that we would, in there, find any type of decrease at all, right? It would be this, okay. It would just be the same thing we have now, but we're waiting for,
Yeah.
we're gonna hold right now and wait until we have more information.
Your 2025-26 budget that is in front of you here for adoption is based upon the assumptions that you hold rates where they are. In doing so, you will maintain the key critical financial indicators that we like to see, which is you will maintain a debt service coverage ratio above 1.2 times. You'll meet your board policy for fund balance, and you'll have the appropriate days cash on hand.
I think that makes the most sense. I was just wondering about next year's budget and our residents, because I don't want people to get the false sense that their rates are where they are now and that's where they're staying, that's all. I can imagine some people saying, oh, okay, this is gonna be my rate.
No, moving forward, we would make, again,
We would
we've
just
done
have
this
to make it clear.
historically, over the past couple of years, we've been doing incremental increases
Yeah.
quarterly.
Mhm.
And moving forward, though, we're gonna go back to reviewing annually and making any necessary adjustments along in conjunction with the budget.
Okay, so we let our residents know that that's what we're doing, right? Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Tom?
I have no questions, thank you.
Denise?
I think it's really important. I'm looking at the whole as it is. We have so many things coming down the pipe, hopefully, through state and federal, where we might be able to find some money. So holding where we are, it'll give everyone a little bit, not relief, but no more pain until we get up till next year. And then everybody has to be, it's realistic. Then we'll have new numbers going forward. So I think it's the best scenario. Thank you.
Brad?
Well said by everyone, the hold, way to go.
And I wanna kind of echo, what Denise said, given some of the appropriations packages that I know have been placed out, and I think those are what you were talking about. I believe it's sound judgment to hold until we know what we may receive and what difference that may be able to make. So, thank you.
Can I make a motion?
Absolutely. Oh, audience, do y'all have any questions about the rates?
Has the water been turned on yet?
Yes.
Yep.
Would be nice to know that.
I'll check out your dishes. Your glasses should be crystal
I've
clear now.
not seen a change.
She does see the change. I've seen a significant change. My neighbor has, and several other people down the street.
There's no change, I'm sorry. I see a change, it's better, it's better.
I think it's where you're at, but I have found a change at my house. I haven't seen it. I think it's just different. So I'd like to make a motion to hold where we're at for 1 year.
Support.
For the 25-26 budget, thank you.
Support.
Miller,
Yes.
Simons?
Yes.
Howie?
Yes.
Dick?
Yeah.
Link?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes. We are now moving on to the resolution number 07-25, adoption of the City of Linden fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
Madam Mayor, in your packet is the draft budget that we are proposing, and the City of Linden operates on a set of financial controls that are established by state law. The city charter also requires us, this is also in accordance with the city charter as well. The draft budget was reviewed by the staff with the city council at prior meetings. Notice that the required scheduled public hearing was advertised and posted accordingly. And again, to clarify, that does not, we're not proposing a tax rate increase. I know there was some confusion on that. There is no tax rate increase that is proposed within this budget. The revenue that we collect in tax revenue, and I guess Brooke, maybe this is the time to maybe talk about the tax revenue and the inflationary increases on taxable values.
So correct. We have no recommendation for any additional millages. They will be rolled back due to the Headley Amendment. Why did your taxable values increase? Proposal A in Headley Amendment limit annual increases to taxable value to lesser of 5% or the Consumer Price Index, the CPI. For 2025, the CPI was 3.1%. That means every property's taxable value automatically increases by 3.1%. That is across Michigan. Proposal A of 1994 is what mandates that. The revenue increased because property values rose naturally with inflation as allowed under Michigan law. There was no proposal to increase anybody's taxes. It was just due to Proposal A and the Headley. When you see that the tax revenue increased in the budget, that's mainly due to the 3.1 increase in taxable value, as well as new construction that's come on to the tax roll. Dollar General, we had Sandalwood finish their development. That's what was calculated into that 5% on the taxable revenue increase. So hopefully that answers your questions.
And additionally, I have my budget highlight memo in there that covers everything that, we worked on for a substantial amount of time. And earlier, we had a couple of comments specific to the budget that I would just like to address. I think I addressed Monica Lerner's comment about the tax rate increase. Additionally, she asked if there was any subcommittee or a committee. She mentioned that she had seen 2 city councilors. So city councilors, again, at different times will come in and discuss specific things with me to gather more information and things like that. So I'm happy to meet with any individual that wants to come in and gather any additional information that's necessary for them to make an informed decision. We do not have a specific budget committee. The city charter does require that the city manager, along with staff, prepare and propose a budget, and that's what we've done. And it's a pretty rigorous process that we start, the new budget that we start working on. I mean, it's a cyclical process, and we start immediately, basically, but our kickoff with staff to work on the next proposed budget starts sometime in October, and we go through a pretty lengthy process to do that. So I really have no further additional to add. If you'd like me to address anything, I'm happy to do that. But tonight we are looking for a motion to approve the resolution and adoption of the City Linden fiscal year 2025-2026 budget as presented.
Do the residents have any questions about the budget? Let me ask for the last time, do the residents have any questions about the budget? Hearing and seeing none, we move to council.
I will make a motion that we
Council
adopt.
questions?
Oh, sorry. I don't have any questions.
Tom?
Never question,
I guess I have concerns, but I believe that right now we need to move forward, past this budget, and in the future, I'm hoping that we can set goals, and that way we're seeing progress of the whole city moving forward. I believe that everyone works hard, and we need to also look for, our citizens in Linden too. But everything I've seen so far, and also, I was in, Ellen's office, with Jerry. I went there quite a few times, because I wanna make sure that I get the information I'm looking for, and that I can come here well prepared. Nothing more, nothing less.
Good job.
And I'm for you guys, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brad?
No comments this time.
Jerry?
Yes, I mean, me and Denise did go into Ellen's office just to get a better understanding. She went, and her staff went through line by line each budget item and explained where there were increases, why those increases were made. And, you know, there are some discussions that we would like to have moving forward on to next year's budget that we've discussed. Some things we would like to look at, but at this time, you know, my questions were answered when I went into her office and wanted explanation of why the increases were made, where they were made. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. Thank you for your time, and Brooke also.
Pam?
I don't have any questions. I just believe that the budget presentation made at our last council meeting on the 20th is very, very adequate and very well done.
Brenda?
I agree, Pam. It was very well done. And I'd just like to echo Ellen's comment. And there was a gentleman in the audience earlier who said something about the budget and he was upset. I wanted to make sure he understood that if he would like to speak with the city manager about the budget, he will have to come to the city and make an appointment. We don't go out and search our residents down to explain things to them, but our city staff is there whenever you need them, if you want to ask questions. And also I wanted to say that I think you guys did a great job. I sat and looked at that, forgot to bring the hard copy, and I'm looking here for my notes, but you guys did a really good job putting it together. Thank you.
I want to thank Ellen and Brooke and Kristen for meeting with me today about the budget. Really, and everyone, I didn't do this earlier, but let me just give a shout out to how many questions y'all answered for me about the PUD. So thank you. Now that that's over, I'm sure you're glad, but lots and lots of questions about the PUD. But, and that's really all I have. I kind of echo what Jerry and Denise, next year, there might be some needs to change some things moving forward, but that's not a this year and this moment situation. Yes.
I do want to say, every one of our workers here work for their money. They do a great job, from the police chief down there, fire, even Don, you know?
Especially Don.
Especially Don.
Especially Don.
And then all of our work staff, you can't say enough about them. They're in, as far as a phone call or wanting to go in and talk to Ellen or anyone, they're always there, so they do answer the questions. And most of the time, well, most times except for Don, we do get the answers right away. Thank you.
So is there a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve this, city council approves and adopts this 2025-2026 budget to cover the period inclusive of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, as stated.
I make a second.
Just to clarify, you're also accepting resolution 07-25?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Simons?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Link?
Yes?
Armstrong?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Moving on to resolution number 08-25, adoption of the City of Linden fiscal year 2025-2026 fee schedule.
In addition to the budget, to support what has been proposed, we have to also pass a resolution adopting the fee schedule for the upcoming year. You guys have already addressed how you want the water rates to be handled. This resolution is specific to all other areas. So just looking for approval tonight for the fee schedule to support the budget. And specifically, resolution 0825.
Do any residents have any questions on 0825, the fee schedule? Okay. And, Brad, let's start with you.
No comments.
Denise?
No comments.
Tom?
No comments at this time.
Brenda?
All set.
Jerry?
Good.
Good.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 0825, adoption of the City of Linden fiscal year 2025-2026 fee schedule.
Howe,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
And I just want to make the statement, Ms. Miller is having to leave due to a family emergency. So, just so that everyone is aware of that.
Thanks.
All right, next is resolution number 09-25, authorizing the compensation for all city officers, employees, and volunteer fire department.
Madam Mayor and City Council, in front of you is also a resolution authorizing the compensation for the city officers, employees, and volunteer fire department. In the resolution, you'll see that it does address that this resolution supersedes any preceding resolutions which may have conflicting language and does not apply to any employee with a collective bargaining agreement or contract. Specifically, that's our police department, and their collective bargaining agreement was adopted last year, and it is a four-year contract, and we're in second year for that. So this is specific to all non-union, and this is what we had proposed and recommended within the body of the 25-26 budget.
Do the residents have any comments or questions on resolution number 0925? Okay. Hearing and seeing none.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
She's got her drink up under there.
Oh,
It's under the table.
thank you. Janet, can you please let Denise know that we'll be praying for her? Thank you. All right, let's start off with Pam. Do you have any questions on the comments?
No comments, just I offer my prayers to Denise and her family.
Jerry?
No comments.
Brad?
No.
Tom?
No comments at this time.
Brenda? All set, okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion to accept resolution number 09-25, authorizing the compensation for all city officers, employees, and volunteer fire department.
Support.
Hicks,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Moving on to resolution number 10-25, adoption of fiscal year 2025-2026 purchasing resolution.
Madam Mayor and City Council, in front of you is the purchasing resolution. There is no changes recommended. This is required for us to do annually in conjunction with the budget and outlines the expectation for our purchasing. Looking for approval for resolution -1025 tonight to support the 2025-26.
Do any residents have any questions about resolution number 10-25, the adoption of fiscal year purchasing resolution? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Start with you, Tom. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
Brenda?
All set, thanks.
Pam?
No questions.
Jerry?
No questions.
No questions.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion that we adopt Resolution 10-25, adoption of the fiscal year 2025-2026 purchasing resolution.
I second.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
And I believe that takes us to the manager's update.
We've covered a lot of ground tonight. Thank you all for your patience and appreciate each one of you. So I don't have a ton. I sent out an update on Friday that referenced some appropriations that we did apply for. We have heard from Rivet's office that our project is one of 15 that is being recommended. It's very early in the process. I'm not sure where we're gonna shake out with that. But we'll remain hopeful and keep our fingers crossed that it's a positive. So we'll continue to, monitor that as it moves through each step. As well, additionally, in my update, I think I included information about repairs to the dam. That if you guys seen the equipment, it wasn't anything related to the mill. It was specific to the dam. I was able to meet with resident Monica Larner last week in my office and hopefully close the loop on some of the items that she had outstanding. And again, I guess I'll just reiterate, I'm always happy to meet with any resident or any city councilor, that's my job, and try to address any concerns that may come up. So, thank you. That's really all I have.
Thank you. Is there any city attorney update tonight?
No city attorney update tonight. I want to make one comment. I've been doing this for a long time, been in a lot of meetings, and this is the largest city council packet I've ever received. Congratulations. We're doing a lot of work here.
Can we vote to reduce it? Oh, really quick, Madam Mayor, we are gonna have the Memorial Day celebration coming up, and we are gonna be needing some volunteers to help make that happen. So I think what we'll do is circulate maybe a Sign Up Genius or at least an email correspondence to ask for volunteers for that day. So it's a great community.
Saturday, right?
No, it would be a Monday.
It would be a
Monday,
Monday.
yeah. So it's a great community event that we are able to, put on at no charge. And it's a concert and just a picnic. So we'll be circulating some emails to help, I'll look for volunteers for that from City Council.
Thank you. All right. The department reports were all included. Do y'all have anything you would like to add tonight? Oh, all right. Just figured I'd ask. Okay, council comments. So here we go. Tonight, I'm going to start with you, Pam.
Okay, so I just have a few brief ones that our Parks and Rec meeting is this Thursday, 6 o'clock here. So come and join us with your thoughts about what we're going to be doing this summer. We're doing cornhole next week, Thursdays at the park. It's our first event, 6 o'clock. And so it'll be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there.
Jerry?
I have no comments at this time.
Brenda?
Just a couple. I already gave you guys one. Someone had said something about someone in the street asking for money, and it said know the law. That was the White Cane team, and what they do is advocate for the crosswalk laws that protect the blind. So that's what they were doing out in the streets. Just so that you know, I talked to them to find out what they were doing. I think Monica had said something about someone being out there in the streets. And then, again, with the communication devices, it doesn't matter who we are on council, we use our communication devices while we're in the meeting. Just a reminder to everybody that we're not emailing, texting, and planning vacation. We're actually looking at the agenda and information. So, to support you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Tom?
I have no comments, thank you.
Brad?
Just a couple tonight, and Mr. Collins is gone, but we reiterated about pacer ratings for roads. The city of Linden we don't do the pacer ratings, the county does those for us. That's something the county provides. Even though we are a city government, we do have a lot of control over what happens in the city. A lot really depends on the county. The county has control over drainage. They are the final authority on any kind of drainage. They do the pace of ratings for the roads. They control a lot of the ways. We have to do things at our level. It's not that we don't want to do things, it's that we can't do things. There were great suggestions that came out of some of the residents from Forest Ridge Glens and Forest Ridge. It's just that we can't actually enforce them at the city level. It's a county thing. So our engineers will be working with the county and we'll stay on that, and that was suggestions that we made at Planning Commission. We actually made them reevaluate the entire site for drainage. Our row engineering went back through and looked at the entire site with the 5 wetlands areas. We had the wetlands areas resurveyed. We required a lot of things. That's why it took a year and a half to get that back to us, to get that even approved at this level. The other thing is at any time during that year and a half, Mr. Niemer could have said, I'll build 28 houses in there instead of 32. At that point in life, the planned unit development would have went away and we wouldn't have any say at all. So we got more from him by allowing him to reconfigure the land and build than we could have, we can enforce more than if he just would have built regular houses like anyone else outside of a PUD.
I want to thank you, Brad, for that explanation, because that was kind of where I was going tonight, so thank you for that. And I want to thank our police officers in the city of Linden. Chief Sutter informed me that this is Police Appreciation Week. Am I right on that?
Absolutely.
So everyone, make sure you appreciate
Madam Mayor, it's specifically for those who died in the war of Louisville.
Okay.
So remember them, but especially their families. Their families and friends are grieving still today, and so say prayers for them, please.
And that concludes my comments. I know we have a closed session this evening.
Yes, and Madam Mayor, before we go into closed session, I would recommend that we move down to the annex similar to the, as we did before. Discuss.
We get take care of
Yeah,
the
we
students?
can take care of students
Okay.
and stuff before we go into closed session.
All right, so we need to vote to go in.
For the record, if I could, the council is allowed to go into closed session to discuss privileged communications, which includes a letter dated May 9th from Mike Logan, the city attorney, and that was the purpose for moving into closed session.
Thank you.
Move into closed session.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion to move into closed session?
So move.
Support. And we go into closed session at 8:29 PM.
That requires a roll call vote.
And a vote, sorry.
House?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Simons? Yes.
Any students, if you guys need
Bring your
signatures, you can
papers
come on
right on
up.
up.